Vlahos here with ExecuNet. I'm speaking today with Peter Bregman. Peter, of course, is a CEO advisor, leadership consultant, and best-selling author. Peter, how you doing?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you. So I'm just going to ask you a few questions, Peter. From any time in your life, what tough choices have you made that now guide and influence how you make new tough decisions?
It's interesting. I think the earliest tough decision I can think about that really has impacted my life to this point is I remember being in college and writing this paper, and it was a history paper, and there was this illusion in writing history papers that we were supposed to be objective, right? That you're supposed to look at the facts and do the research.
It's history.
It's history. And my view, my realization at that moment was, I'm very much a part of this paper, that to pretend objectivity when there's clearly a place I'm coming from that's subjective, that I have my own views and my own culture that I come from, my own perspectives, was a mistake. And so I took this risk in that paper to not write myself out of it. You know, the way you usually write it is you write in the passive tense, this happened and that happened, and to actually write about my view, and here's how I look at it, and here's how I see it. And it was this real moment, I remember this moment thinking, I'm going to put myself in this place. And it was a choice that I made to say, in my life, am I going to just stand into the outside and be passive about how I'm looking at things? Or am I going to look at them subjectively and clearly put myself into them? And that was a decision I made that's impacted every part of my life.
So you paint yourself right into the scene?
I paint myself into the scene every
cool.
time. And it's how I write now, and it's how I teach.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So what are the one or two or three toughest challenges that organizational leaders need to overcome to lead us into the future?
I think the hardest thing to do, and I'm going to keep it on one thing, but it applies in many different areas, the hardest thing is to keep growing. It's very hard. It's hard to keep growing. It's hard to keep pushing ourselves to do new things, to look at things in new ways, especially as we get more and more successful. The more successful I get, the more I trust what got me there, and that's the past. And so to keep pushing and to keep, because the truth is what got me there isn't the actual thing I did. It's the fact that I kept growing and I kept pushing myself.
Right.
So if I could rely on that and to keep going, and it's true organizationally, we can create great products, we can create great services, and they sell and they work well, and then don't not want to change anything, right? Because it's working.
Sure.
Why break something that's not broken? And in my view, that's a mistake, right? And that the biggest challenge and the biggest learning, in a sense, is to continue to push ourselves personally, professionally, and organizationally to break out of the mold we were yesterday and try new things and take bigger and bigger and bigger risks.
Excellent. Peter, what are your one or two biggest lessons learned that might help other leaders as they face similar challenges?
Again, I'll focus on the one thing I think that makes the biggest difference for me, which is take the chance, and this is a huge challenge, take the chance to live not just from your mind, but also from your heart. And it's incredibly hard because the heart is this vulnerable place. It's a very easy target of the mind. If you do something that has warmth to it and is connected, and you could easily get shot down. And in that place, and the mind is this great critic that can look at it and point holes in it, and the heart, the emotions are not defendable in many ways. They just are. Many people are very, very scared of them. And so as I speak from my heart, people will start to shoot me down because it's scary to them, because it makes them feel things they don't want to feel. And what we know about leadership very, very clearly is that the heart is just as important, if not way more important, in terms of being an effective and powerful leader than the mind. That you need both. You need competence and you need warmth. And that one without the other is you lose people, you lose followers, you lose capacity. And that's the biggest challenge. The biggest challenge is to continue to connect with your heart, to take the risk to be vulnerable. It might feel like weakness. In fact, it's great strength to speak from that place. And it creates a committed group of people who are willing to follow you everywhere.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So last question, Peter. What's the one thing you want everyone listening to us today to know about the future of their work?
That it matters and that it represents them.
Mm-hmm.
That the work we do, it's going back to the first question, the work that we do represents who we are and is a part of who we are, and that we are a part of that work. And so you do it with love and with care and with a commitment to having it be the thing in the world you want that represents you. And for that very reason, it matters. And it matters more than just a bottom line, and it matters more even than just a satisfied customer. It matters because this is taking your life force and energy and putting it out in a material way in the world that impacts other people. And so the most important thing about your work is that it matters and that it represents you.
Wow, find something special in what you do.
Yeah.
And that's what he does, everyone. So thank you very much, Peter, for your time and
My
attention
pleasure,
today.
Tony.
We'll be talking again soon.
I look forward to it.
All right.
Wow.